Today we're going to actually talk about the game that took place between Jackson State and Bama State and what we can look forward to moving forward from the Bama State Hornets because they look good. And Jackson State getting a hard-fought close win, only the second win of the season. Let's talk about it after the bumper. Stay tuned. What is up, everybody? What is up, everybody? My name is JeffLightsyJr. here at Victory Formation and the Black Boss channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and the notification bell because we upload every single day. Also, you can follow me on Facebook, Jeff Lightsy Sports. That is Jeff Lightsy Sports on Facebook. And whoa, we had ourselves a ball game in Montgomery, Alabama. Shout out to ASU, to Alabama State. It looked like the environment was booming. They had great recruits on the sideline to watch what ended up being a really hard-fought competitive game. Now, Jackson State was able to pull away in the end, 26-12. But Alabama State showed that they have a really good football team and that Coach Eddie Robinson Jr. is the guy to lead this program moving forward. Now, you can feel however you feel about the way Eddie Robinson handled the post-game stuff, and I'm not really here to talk about that, but I do want to speak on something really quick because they asked Eddie Robinson. Nobody really asked him about his players and the way they spoke to Coach Prime. And I just want to address this because there's a clip on my Twitter. You can go to my Twitter at JLightsy7, at JLightsy7 on Twitter. And there's the clip of his players cursing out Coach Prime. And then on my TikTok at JLightsy7, I extended it and showed Deion Jr. showed. Shout out to Deion Jr. and HBCU game day. I mean, not HBCU game day, the pregame show that his players were cursing out Jackson State sideline and the water girl. And I put on my Twitter, you know, I've never seen, I've been covering, it might not look like it, but I've been covering college football for almost a decade now. And I've never seen, and I've been to hundreds of games, both basketball and college football. I've been to hundreds and hundreds of games as a reporter. And no one asked him about the language that his players use towards a coach because I've never seen that before. Now, granted, I can caveat that by saying I have also never seen a coach walk around a team 30 minutes prior to the game. I've never seen that before either. Now, the JSU fans will say, well, Coach Prime walks around the stadium every single game. This is nothing new. And I even had someone send me a clip of Prime doing it when Grambling came to town, when they came to Jackson, and you saw Coach Prime walking around the stadium as he says he does every game and embrace Coach Hugh Jackson, walk past the Grambling players, etc., etc. There's a difference between that, what happened then and what happened at Alabama State. Coach Prime admitted his team got to Montgomery, got to the stadium late. They got there late, and so therefore their pregame routine was disrupted. And then so be it. So be it. I think you should have the courtesy. This is just me. I think Coach Prime should have the courtesy to not walk into the ASU, walk around the ASU team. He didn't walk through the team. Let me get that straight. He didn't walk through the team. He walked around the team, though. And it did look disrespectful. I'm not saying that it was. And some people say it wasn't polite. It wasn't the right, proper football etiquette. And he knows that. Granted, it is his tradition, but they typically don't get there that late. And therefore, he has more time before the teams come out to the field to do that. Now, all that said, so I think Prime was wrong in that instance. I think the ASU players, there's still no excuse for them to curse out a coach. I've never seen that before. They can say, I mean, say what you want. Cursing at an opposing coach when he hasn't done anything. Now, granted, you can say that was disrespectful, but that doesn't justify the language that was used towards him and that was used towards his team, including a woman on his staff. A woman on his staff. One of the players from ASU called her the B word. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable, and nobody asked Coach Robinson about that. You know, that is what it is. Now, moving now that we've gotten past that, I hope I didn't bore you and you moved along. This was a really good game. One, we talked about all the recruits that was there for Alabama State and, possibly Jackson State as well. They got themselves a good game. They got themselves a really hard-nosed competitive game, and I think Coach Eddie Robinson Jr. and his staff and his team, defensive coordinator Lewis, they won over some people with that game plan. The problem with Alabama State, the reason why they aren't going to be able to beat a team like Jackson State this year is they don't have enough firepower on offense. That defense can play with damn near anybody in the SWAC. That they blitzed, they went zero coverage one too many times, and Shedeur ate him up twice for touchdowns. And that offense isn't explosive enough. The running backs are good. The receivers are okay. They need more playmaking at the receiver position, and there's nothing you can do about that. And the health of quarterback D. Davis is something that's going to hinder this team if he's not able to stay healthy for entireties of games. Now, that's the problem when you play with a smaller guy. D. Davis is a smaller guy. He's 5'10". He's under 200. I think he's right at 200 pounds, but he continues to get hurt every single game. Well, I say every single game, but a lot of their games this year, he hasn't been able to finish because of injuries. That is something that's going to hinder them moving forward. This is a really good team, and this is a really good first season for a coach that I think can be special in this conference, for a coach that I think is building a really, really good team. Go back. When they won the SWAC MEAC Challenge, I watched that game, and I was like, yo, Alabama State got some good players. And I said, is Coach Eddie Robinson Jr. building a juggernaut? And I stand on that. And I continue to say that because they have a really, really good team in year one. You got to remember what Coach Hugh Jackson is doing at Grambling, what Coach Eddie Robinson Jr. is doing at Alabama State, Dooley at Southern. These are all their first years at those Bubba McDowell at Prairie View. These are all their first years at those programs. And Coach Eddie Robinson Jr.'s case is first year coaching football ever at any level. And so to have his guys go out there flying around, Shedeur ended up with over 300 yards passing, but he'll admit that wasn't his best performance. Coach Prime certainly admitted that wasn't his best performance. He had 16 incompletions. His dad thought that was the end of the world. His dad and his coach thought that was the end of the world, the fact that he had 16 incompletions. But a big part of that was because of what Alabama State was able to do. And so if they can get that offense to match the defense, you're going to have a really, really good team moving forward for the rest of this year. And when they hit the recruiting trail, they got to go out and get some playmakers. They got to go out and upgrade that offensive line. Yes, they have to upgrade that offensive line, and they got to upgrade the playmakers on the outside. And you just got to cross your fingers and hope that your quarterback is able to stay healthy throughout the duration of a season. And D. Davis, because I think he can be special. I think he's really talented, but he's got to be able to be on the field for us to be able to see that. And so shout out to Coach. I mean, you can say what you want about Coach Eddie Robinson Jr.'s post-game antics or whatever. He's got a damn good football team, and he is coaching them up, and they're playing really, really well. On the other side, Jackson State. Let me pull up the stats from the game. Jackson State showed, and this is only the second time that they've had a chance to show this, but they showed for the second time that they can win ugly. And sometimes you have to win ugly. Every game is not going to be the FAMU game. Every game is not going to be the Grambling game. Every game is not going to be the Valley game. These are conference opponents, and when you play conference opponents, they tend to play you better than your non-conference schedule. And Jackson State, they got played with. Now the great thing about JSU, and it's going to continue to propel them to continue to have this remarkable season, is the defense travels. That defense for JSU and what they're able to do on the defensive side of the ball is special. Coach Dennis Thurman, his defensive line, those defensive backs, they're special, guys. They're special, and they're only going to continue to get better because they're going to add Travis, and they're going to add Shiloh, and they're going to add True Thompson, and they're going to continue to get better and better. The problem I have with JSU, and you guys, I've gotten mad at me before for saying this, I think they fall in love with the pass too much. Shedeur is a special player. Shedeur is a guy that's going to play on Sundays. Shedeur is one guy that I've continued to say that it's not about him getting drafted. It's about how high can he get his stock up? Like, how high can he move up the draft boards? But Savion Wilkerson I feel the same about Savion that I feel about Maurice Washington for Grambling. They need to get between 20 and 25, really 25 touches a game. Savion Wilkerson, 19 carries for 88 yards, almost 5 yards a carry once again. He's got to get 25 touches a game, whether that's catching and running, rushing and receiving. That is a formula because the problem is Alabama State was able to get pressure on Shedeur. They only finished with 2 sacks, but they were getting in his face consistently. I saw the tweets. Though this looked like the offensive line from last year. That's because them boys in Montgomery can play. That's because them boys in Montgomery were dialing up blitzes and making plays on the quarterback. And Shedeur wasn't comfortable back there. He wasn't comfortable the entire game. Now, he's a baller, so he made plays to Willie when he saw the zero coverage, to Kevin Coleman when it was one-on-one coverage. And they, as receivers, made plays, Willie getting past his man, and Kevin Coleman with the snag of the year with a great snag after Shedeur somehow, some way backpedaled and threw it off his back foot on a rope. He threw a dime off his back foot. But I think they need to continue to give Sevion the ball. He is that talented. He's that special. 25 touches a game. If he gets under 25 touches, I think that's a problem. And I think when you continue to play better and better teams, you don't want to fall in love with Shedeur trying to save you every single game, especially when you have that type of talent in the backfield. I think he's that good. But that defense, like I said, from JSU, that is their calling card. I know Shedeur is a baller. I know Shedeur is a player. But Shedeur, like I said, he was uncomfortable this game in moments, in a lot of moments. But one thing that wasn't uncomfortable, or one person who was also uncomfortable, were the quarterbacks at Alabama State. Only 138 yards passing and only 39 yards rushing. 138 yards passing and 39 yards rushing. That's the sign of a great defense. That's the sign that Coach Dennis Thurman, sometimes you don't win every football game the same way. And sometimes your offense has to lean on your defense. And sometimes you have to say, hey, coach, offense, we ain't got it tonight. We're going to do enough. We're going to score enough. But if you give me 26 points, we can handle the rest. If you give me 17 points for Jackson State, that defense can handle the rest. That defense was flying all over the ball. They made plays on the ball. They made tackles in the backfield, sacks, and timely tackles and timely possessions, and they're only going to get better as they continue to add guys off the injury reserve. Coach Thurman, Coach Prime, he's got a defense that he can lean on, and that is going to travel. That bodes well for them because Shedeur is not going to be uncomfortable every single game. But here and there, Tennessee State, here and there, Alabama State, he is going to be uncomfortable, whether it's because of the weather conditions, whether it's because they can't block them, whether it's because the exotic blitzes or the exotic fronts are giving his offensive line trouble, are giving him trouble. You got to be able to lean on the defense, got to be able to lean on the running game, and JSU was. They were. Sevion, like I said, is a dog. And those boys over there on the defense are dogs. Alabama State's got to upgrade the playmakers on the outside, but I love what Coach Robinson is doing on that team. And I think those recruits that were in the building, yeah, they saw JSU. Yeah, they got to take a long look at Coach Prime and what's happening over there in Jackson, Mississippi. But they also have a lot to consider with what's happening in Montgomery, Alabama. They also have a lot to consider of what's taking place and who's the leader of the Alabama State Hornets. Now, like I said, I don't condone the way they were speaking to Coach Prime. I don't condone the way they were speaking to Coach Prime's sideline. I don't condone the way they were speaking to the women on the JSU staff. But them as a football team, those are some good players over there. That is a good football team. And this is something that the SWAC can feed off of. This is something, a budding rivalry. Now, to be a rivalry, you have to beat the team. Well, Alabama State beat them last time they came to Alabama State. But now, JSU has won the last two. If you want to consider yourself a real rivalry, to beat a man, you got to beat the man. And so Coach Eddie Robinson said, I hope that y'all schedule us for your homecoming next year. One, be careful what you ask for. And two, I pray that they do it. Because this is something that this is a game that everybody will circle on their calendar moving forward. This is a game that everybody will circle on their calendar moving forward. And look, we all know that Coach Prime is doing great things for the conference. We all know that Coach Prime is doing great things for Jackson, Mississippi. We all know Coach Prime is doing great things for Jackson State University. We all know that Coach Prime is doing great things for HBCUs. But he also does some things that piss some people off. And everybody's not going to be his friend. And everybody's not going to like him. And guess what? That is okay. That is okay. It's okay for everybody not to like him because they aren't going to like him. He's very confident. He's very braggadocious. He loves his team. He said he's probably upset because he thought he was going to get a win. I don't know why he would think that. I love it. Come on. I don't know why he would think that. Like, come on, man. But that's going to rub some people the wrong way. And guess what? It's all good. It is all good. For people to make it seem like Coach Eddie Robinson is just some villain for the things that he did and the things that he said, move around, man. He's not no villain. Now, granted, his players got to tighten up. They can't be talking to coaches like that. They can't be talking to women like that. That's messed up. But what he did and what he said, I don't find nothing wrong with it. I told y'all he wasn't going to like the fact that Prime said this was a money game. I told y'all that. And then you add the fact that Prime walked around his team 30 minutes prior to kickoff. Hell no, he's not going to like that. And he's not supposed to like it. He don't give a damn what Prime does for a tradition. He's not supposed to like that. Then that is okay. His players can't talk like that, but he's not supposed to like that. And I love it, man, because I think he is building something special at Bama State. I think he is going to be able to snag a couple of more recruits. He's going to upgrade his trenches and get his guys on the outside, and he's going to continue to play hard football the rest of the way. And there's a lot of talent that comes out of Alabama. A whole lot of talent comes out of Alabama. I love it, man. But you know Prime is going to be Prime. So this is something to watch moving forward. This was an awesome game. This was a really, really awesome game. And the building, and it's both teams, there's no moral victories in sports, but both teams can walk away from this game happy about a lot. Prime and JSU can be happy the fact that they won ugly. Now, every team in the country, a win is a win. But when JSU doesn't win by 40 points, people act like that's a problem. It's not a problem. Every game is different. And every game, as long as at the end of the day you come away with the W, you won. That's the ultimate goal. Now, granted, you want to be dominant because that's what he keeps preaching, but a win is a win at the end of the day, especially when it's a 14-point win. Now, the spread was 24, so they expected, and I think it even ballooned up to 27, so Vegas expected you to win by more, but still a win is a win. And sometimes it's good to win ugly. Sometimes it's good when your quarterback, even though he had 30 completions and 300 yards, it's good for your quarterback to not have his best day and your defense to pick you up. I said the same thing at the Tennessee State game. It's okay to win ugly. And Alabama State can come away saying, yo, one, we have a hell of a defense. Probably have the second best defense in the SWAC. And two, this rebuild of this program, it's probably ahead of schedule. The way they were able to recruit and get some players, especially on the defensive side of the ball, the defensive mindset that Coach Eddie Robinson Jr. was able to bring to this program, they're probably ahead of schedule. And that's good. It's a good thing. You took on the Giants for your homecoming. They felt disrespected, and you held them to 26 points. You lost the game, but you covered the spread, and you were a few plays away from being in this thing. Them zero coverages and just those dimes that Shedeur was throwing, you tip your hat to the better man, to the better team. And that's okay. But this budding rivalry is something that can be really, really good for the SWAC moving forward. I asked the question, and some of y'all didn't like it. I said, is JSU getting too good for, is their dominance bad for the SWAC? And y'all were like, oh, y'all don't come blah, 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 blah. Man, look, their dominance could potentially hinder the conference if they're beating everybody by 40. But even if they continue to win, but it's close and it's competitive, that's better for the conference than them going out beating everybody by 40. And if Alabama State is able, or someone else, not just them, they have the rest of the season to go, is able to knock them off by chance, that is going to be pretty crazy. But the JSU Tigers, they're like, yo, we don't plan on losing. And as y'all shouldn't. Y'all should continue to think that you're going to go out and win every single game. Your coach said he thought he was going to get a win. I don't know why he would think that. And that is awesome. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Once again, my name is JeffLightsyJr. with the Black Boss Channel with Victory Formation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out. Also, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at JLightsy7. Also on Facebook, Jeff Lightsy Sports. That is Jeff Lightsy Sports on Facebook. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Peace.